Yes, what's up, party people? We're back.
We're back. Hello.
It's me, Dinda, and next to
Ethan.
Ashley.
You forgot his name. It's been that long.
Ashwin. Someone else. Ashwin.
No, I was just like next to me, and I'm like, wait, you're also next to me. No,
She was just talking about overthinking. She just did it.
correct.
Again, that is the Dinda, Ethan over there, and Jara and myself over here. It's good to be back. It's always a good time. It's always a good laugh with everyone. I just want to take a moment to thank you guys that do tune in on the regular. Like, we appreciate it. We do love doing this for you guys and just for each other. Like, it's a good conversation. I just hope that we all have get some sort of value added to us but at the end of every conversation that we have. And the fact that some of you guys are still around just shows that God's working, and we're really grateful for that. So thanks again, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Anywho, moving into the topic that we're going to be talking about today.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know how else to say it, but like there's different ways you can go about it. But we're gonna call it the devil's scare tactics, and specifically we're gonna focus on negative thoughts today.
Yeah.
Because this topic is broad, and the devil has a lot of tools in his arsenal. But this is just one of many that we're all pretty used to, which I assume that people listening in can relate to as well. So we're just gonna go around and like talk about our experiences with that. How we've handled it, how we've identified it, and then how we took care of it.
Yeah.
So those are kind of like just the things that's gonna be the basis or the area which we're gonna be in this conversation today.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start straight away with the question of, has there been a moment or like a time in your life that you guys remember pretty vividly where your thoughts were like consuming you and was making you doubt your abilities, etc., etc.? You know what I mean?
Many times.
Many times, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I guess I can go first.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, again, our experiences are all very different, and like I said before, the devil does have many tools at his arsenal. And with that being said, it can
Did
look
you
different
say
in everyone's
his arsenal?
in his arsenal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was like, I don't know why every time I listen to Arsenal, I thought of Nick and his Arsenal team.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Arsenal.
Sorry.
Anywho, yeah. For me, I would say I'll start with one being, you know what? Why don't we do the reason why we're talking about this today? I'm sure a certain member in our group who, think however you want about it, because everyone has different thoughts and dreams and things like that. Everyone has different camps, right? But one of our members received a dream that was quite a demonic one. And in the dream, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember it. There was two girls, teenage girls chanting fresh goods.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And then, basically, they posted that to the group, and we're like, "Whoa, what's this? What does this mean?"
Yeah.
And
early in the morning too.
Yeah, like for me personally, I'm not really like into all that.
Same.
I'm not really into dreams. I'm still skeptical, honestly, but because of this person's track record, I took it seriously. I mean, you take any warning seriously, you know what I mean?
With that
So
kind of
for
stuff.
me, I thought that the first feelings I felt was fear and doubt. I was thinking like, oh man, like maybe what we're doing isn't good. Like maybe this was all for nothing. I was like getting all these thoughts out of nothing. Like they were just conjuring themselves up.
Yep.
And it was like not invoked by myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then I caught myself and I was like, what the heck? Like, why am I thinking this way? And then immediately I thought like, that has to be the enemy. And like that, and we did discuss this later on, that we all agree that this is just maybe in a way an encouragement that we are doing the right thing. We are going the right way.
Yep.
Because obviously if we're doing something that's going to glorify God and further his kingdom, the enemy will always try to get in the way of that, right?
Yeah.
And so, there's actually this verse that I looked up, because I was looking up verses that day because I was like looking for encouragement.
It'd be funny if we have the same verse in our mind.
Maybe, we'll see. Let me get it up. But it's in Joshua chapter 1:9. Nope. Okay, so it says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." And then I thought about that, and I was like, yeah, that's facts, you know, like
Mm.
we do all feel called to do this. We all feel called to like add value to people. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing. We're not trying to be controversial. We're just trying to like love on people and add value to people, right?
Yeah.
And so, because I still feel called to do that, I'm like, yeah, like that verse puts it plainly, you know. And so that's my encouragement. Like, if you guys want a verse, there's a verse for you there. But yeah, that's kind of a very close, or what was words are
Close
not coming to me
encounter.
today. Yeah, like the closest encounter. The reason why we're talking about this today, but
Mm.
obviously, like this, we've encountered many experiences with negative thoughts.
Yep.
So this is just one of them, and I just thought it was a good example to put out first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So
That's true.
It's
what
good.
about you guys? Yeah, that's me.
I
That's
said
He's
everything,
thinking-
man. He's out of breath now.
You're out of breath.
Nah, I agree.
I forget to breathe
I
sometimes.
think. Well, Jared was really good about it because when we came as a meeting,
Yeah.
we all were like, how do we feel about it and everything. And I think we
Mm.
all like agreed. We were actually like,
On the same page.
yeah, we all felt because when you encounter something like that, you obviously feel it's like uncertainty.
Yeah.
I guess you're uncertain about what it means. Like when you hear demonic, it's bad,
And you
right?
speculate.
Yeah, and you speculate and you start to question your movements or
Yeah.
question like how you've been living your life. Like legit, you overthink that whole thing. But I think we all came to agreement and honestly, my grandma said this a lot as well. It's like if the devil like doesn't want you to do something, that means God's really moving in that area. You know what I mean? So I think we all. That's how I felt in the morning. I was really just like confused,
Yeah,
confused, fearful.
confusion.
I was mostly confused. I was just like, okay.
Yeah. The dot.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
like I'm same page as Jai. I'm like a bit skeptical on it, but at the same time, you have to take it pretty seriously. So
yeah, take any
yeah.
seriously. You know?
So I think the
Yeah.
first response we all did was pray. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that should be always the first
Yeah,
response
yeah.
to like something as huge as that. So I think in the same way, like segueing into like doubt and anxiety, that's I guess how I've learned to like overcome it rather
Mm.
than choosing to think more, like look within.
Yeah.
I think, for example, I guess it was like leadership because I guess youth leading was a very big decision as well. It was a big
Mm.
decision in a way where I was going to be a role model like how other people were role models to me.
Mm.
So I started to look within a lot. So I started to look at how I live my life, how doubtful I am, how unworthy I was
Yeah.
in my own judgment, I guess.
Mm.
So then the thoughts start to roll in, and then I kind of get this picture of myself where it doesn't look good. But then I guess as I started talking to more people and saying how have you actually prayed about it or anything, I actually didn't. You know what I mean? I actually spent more time thinking about all the boxes I need to check to become a good leader.
Mm.
And eventually I did pray and I did ask God why he actually wanted this messed up version of me.
Mm.
And I guess like it's very hard for me to say because it was like a very hard time in my life. But it was the fact that God still said he could still use me.
Yeah.
It was the fact that God still said it was okay.
Yeah.
Like if you doubt yourself, it was
Mm.
okay if you didn't want to.
Yeah.
It was okay if like any negative feelings you had like about yourself.
Yeah.
Like I think he really like stuck that out in my mind that he'll cover that
Yeah.
and he'll like even if you mess up like a minute before cell,
Mm.
I'll still cover you for that as long
Mm.
as you think about me. So I think that's really how I respond to everything now. Anything that is doubtful, anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
No,
think that's
good.
my biggest,
Nice.
I guess, like, yeah, my biggest encounter in terms of like
Yeah.
overthinking and going through
Yeah.
such a small, insignificant thought can like turn like huge.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They say in the Bible like faith is as small as a mustard seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same as doubt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think now I relate to that as well because obviously there were many times when, I just don't feel worthy to lead sometimes. And what I always remember this, I don't know who initially said it first, so credit to whoever actually mentioned this first, but I always remember like someone said, God equipped the called, not called the equipped when it comes to leadership. So it's always like at the end of the day, if you're called, like God's gonna be the one who equip you, and His grace covers everything in every areas of our lives.
Mm.
So I think that is something that I put on my mental note.
That's good.
Yeah, no, that's good, Ethan. I think for me, there's so many angle and approach, but I think one thing that I want to emphasize in this episode would be like my overthinking, just like Jara has kind of point out. I'm an overthinker, and like I think I've I've been better with my overthinking stuff. Like I actually lately I feel like I've let go a lot of things, and I'm more secured in who I am and all that. But one of the things, so for me myself, I use my personal Instagram profile, even though it's like very what do you call that? Like even though it's my own personal, it's not like a brand or whatever. Like I'm not an influencer or anything like that. But I always try to want to make like integrate how like Jesus is in my life. So I don't always post about God, but there are times that I feel like when I'm called to share a story and be vulnerable on Instagram, like the calling is strong. You know what I mean? But there were many times, and I do like writing. So I think writing is one of my hobbies and one of my things that I do. Like I'm one of those people, if you see like long like paragraphs caption, I'm one of those. Like I like to just put out some stuff out there. But I think one of the things that I sometimes still struggle is that to overcome that cringe or to like, what are people gonna think about this? Am I being too much, or all these thoughts, when I actually know that every time we put a story or like tell who God and what God has been doing in our lives, somebody is going to be blessed by it. Like I don't even have to know who they are, but because I am that someone who have been so blessed with people who have shared their own personal story on Instagram. And indeed, the last home church that I actually went to, I found that church to someone's Instagram story, which like that person was just like someone who I worked with in a random organization. I knew that she was an atheist, and then one day she rocked up to church and posted about that church,
Yeah, wow.
which made me want to go back to church again. So Instagram has been an online platform for me that is being used by God in so many ways.
Amen,
Even like Morgan Harper Nichols, there were many like I don't know if you girls know Morgan Harper Nichols, but go look her up. She's like a designer who also a writer, and she just posts all these beautiful reflections on a like abstract painting. And then I remember like back in the days, she would like open free like prayer requests, and I would like tell her what's up, and then she would craft it some writings personally customized for me
Oh, that's
on
crazy.
Instagram. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'll share that on story one day. But it's
Mm.
crazy, and I think I just want to like be the hands and feet of that area as well. Like I do believe, you know what, people have um their debates on Instagram and how it can be a bad thing, but I also believe that God can use anything. And I do believe in this generation, Instagram is being used tremendously for God's kingdom as well. And yeah, so I think I want to contribute on that. And every time I want to like share my story or something that happened, there's always that, I don't know how to describe it, that thought or that feeling when I was already drafted everything like ready to post, and I would pause. I would just have this like, Dinda, like, I don't think you should write those like paragraphs. Like someone actually made fun of me because like I'm like, like who's reading all that? Like,
Yeah.
it's a joke, but sometimes I'm like, ooh, I think about that. Like,
Mm.
yeah, but I think I know that every time I post it, like there will be people randomly who I bump into, or like even in the DMs, like thanking me for posting that. And I think sometimes that's the reassurance that God gives.
Yeah.
But I know that I have to practice. I don't have to rely on those reassurance. I don't have to rely on a confirmation that someone said like, Dinda, that was good, or like that blessed me. I just
Yeah.
like need to learn to let that go and let God do the work. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that's my kind of like struggle, one of my struggles.
Yeah.
And the thing with doubts, right? I just have this verse that I remember, like the enemy is like a roaring lion ready to like attack you.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I think, where am I in the enemy's eye sometimes as well? Because I think there's an extreme where, like, when someone who is just a newborn Christian on fire, it's so easy to obviously see that those people are or will be attacked by the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the other like area that we need to be aware of is like when you are a Christian for so long, let's say like you've been a Christian since your high school and it's been 10 years or how many years, you kind of like lost that fire, like you kind of like in this complacency area. And I think like at times, I think that's also like, I don't know, like that doubt that people have, like, oh, I think I'm just all right, like I'm not really there anymore, and all that can is also like something that the enemy use, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very creative,
Yeah.
the enemy. Yeah.
But again, right, we can't also just emphasizing on what the enemy can do, but the fact that
100%. Yeah. God is
God's,
greater. God is bigger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think sometimes we put the what do you call that? Like the
Emphasis.
the emphasis,
The focus
on like
on the problem.
I've been attacked,
Right.
and like God's like enemy has been playing with me, or da da da, and then we kind of downplay who actually God is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm sweating, guys.
Yeah. Wow. So much passion.
Yeah.
It's just me, I've been
You
telling
should
you
be
guys
directly under the.
like, no,
Yeah.
but like I don't feel the AC at all, man. Why am I
It's
sweating?
right. It's just something else
Yeah.
that's
No, I think
that's
it's
brewing
the
inside of you.
blood. I don't know.
So yeah. So those are like a little bit of our experiences with doubt and like dealing with the devil's tactics in terms of negative thoughts. Now, if you haven't already figured out through our stories, I guess it's good to make it clearer how we identified that this was like the enemy working, into our lives somehow, trying to like, plant these seeds of doubt. So I have an example, and if you guys feel like you want to build on it, you can.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if anyone's watched The Good Place. Have you seen The Good Place? Have you seen it?
A little bit.
Okay, this is going to be a major spoiler. So if you haven't watched it, just like
Is this a series?
maybe skip a little
It
bit,
is.
all right? But it's a pretty good series. It's about like, The Good Place is like going to heaven, so
Oh
like
yeah,
life
I remember.
after death.
Yeah,
And
like they have different houses and
yeah,
like
yeah.
all
So
the
it looks like
crazy things.
yeah,
like another world, kind of like not Barbie, but kind of like
like
made up.
like The Good Place.
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
Sorry.
no, it's all good.
I'm trying to-
Anyways, so the ending of the first season is that they realized they were not in the good place, right? So that's the big plot twist. So that's the spoiler. And like how the main character kind of figured that out was that she's like, oh, I'm feeling feelings of this and that, like that are not holy. You know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
figured out that why are we bickering? Why are we always angry? Why is there always drama here? This isn't the good place. This is the bad place, right? And then she solved it. And then obviously this season. My point is that when you get thoughts and you're trying to decipher whether that's from God or not,
Yep.
just think about what she was thinking about, the main character. I forgot her name. But does it feel like God would put that on you? You know,
Yep.
like
It's true.
anxiousness, doubt.
Mm.
God doesn't do that. It's the sin in us
Yep.
that allows that to take place. You know what I mean? And the enemy
Yeah.
kind of uses that to his advantage. So that's my way of identifying these things.
Hmm.
And I guess that's how we all kind of deduce from that dream as well, like what
Yeah.
that meant to us.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like maybe most people in the room or people listening would go about the same way we did, but there could actually be other people that might not. Because maybe there had been a seed of doubt brewing the whole time, and all it took was that one event to tumble down the blocks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just like how I would go about it. What you guys have anything to add about identifying like these
Yeah.
things?
I mean, just the fact that do you find that in the Bible?
Right.
Because if you don't find that in the Bible, if it's just because of what you're feeling, then it is not like, from God.
Right.
Like guilt
Yeah.
is not from God.
Mm.
When you feel guilty, when you feel condemned, when you feel like you're too messed up for church, that is from the enemy, my guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because we have to remember, like Romans 8, like there is nothing that can separate you from God's love, nor the things, like all this verse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to
Amen.
pull that up, but you know what I'm talking about. Should I pull that up?
Yeah, sure. Pull it up.
I can pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I'm just like trying to emphasize, I guess, the fact that we need to go back into the Word of God again with whatever that we're feeling. Because
Mm.
a lot of times we feel and we forget that our feelings are not God. Our feelings are not supposed to be the driver of our decision makings.
Amen.
God is God. And like
Mhm.
sometimes I hear this phrase a lot, which is fine. Like I think because, of the mental health awareness, we're all trying to be more in tune with ourselves.
Mhm.
So we say a lot of phrases like, oh, I feel like this,
Yep.
we feel like that.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
But we forget to differentiate, to acknowledge our feelings, but to not put feelings over God.
Faith. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
My
mm.
feelings over faith.
Over faith.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
No, I agree. I think
Yeah.
for me, while she pulls that up, I
Yeah.
guess it's always like I think I realize the times where I feel doubt is times of progression. So if I always try and progress in my faith, so my devotional life especially,
Mm-hmm.
and also this like ministry life. So anytime I want to do like my devotions, my thoughts always just be like, but it's late. But it's late. But you're tired. But it's
Mm.
okay. Like you caught up with a Christian guy today.
Mm.
You got something out of that, right? That's good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
right.
good enough.
Yep.
And I think when I realized it wasn't just me and it was just something else that it was saying a bit more, just like an extra whisper, I think I really realized like how the devil doesn't say much, but when what he says is in a time of vulnerability and is in a time of when like you're at weakness.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously at that time, I used to do devotions very late at night
Mm.
because I would want to do all my other things that I wanted to do before
Yeah.
I reached God.
Mm.
And yeah, that's pretty much when the devil will come in and be like, hey, like,
Yeah.
Time for
"Oh,
bed.
yeah,
Like,
look,
yeah.
it's,
Kinda
it's,
time.
it's
Just-
late, my guy. And I'm like, I never cared about sleep. This is crazy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I
he just
think,
he just needs a foothold.
yeah, so I think
Mm.
the way I went about it was anytime those thoughts came in, I need to learn to trigger it and be like, no, I'm doing it anyways. Learn to
Yeah,
like
good.
rebel against, because
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Good.
I think someone else said this to me, like the Christian walk is not a flesh walk. So your flesh will be uncomfortable
Yep.
doing the Christian walk. You know what I mean? It's learning how to walk as a baby again,
Mm.
essentially. So once you turn that thought into a trigger to do something else, to choose God over that thought, then we're starting to get it. Then we're starting to train as Christians with what
Mhm.
we learned to actually apply the things we learned and actually be like, okay, let me do it. And then as anytime you get the thoughts, like anytime something inside me says not to do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which
That's
is God. You know what I mean? Especially if it's God.
Yeah.
More so.
Yeah.
So I guess that's for me. Especially being a perfectionist.
Yep.
You guys know that. Like
Yeah.
out of
Imposter
everyone,
syndrome.
a lot of people know that.
Yes.
So it's
Yep.
just like anytime I'm like making something, even that reel recently,
Yeah.
it was
It's
just
good.
like okay, but yeah,
Good.
it's like still I'm working on it. You know what I mean? In my
Yeah.
head, it's just
That's good.
Yeah.
like post it, just do it,
Mm.
Just do it.
just do it. Just
Just
it's
sow
fine.
the
If it
seeds.
was for God,
yeah.
just do it. You know what I
Sure do
mean?
it,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter, just do it. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's my personal experience when it comes to like specifically where those doubts and thoughts come in.
That's
Mm.
great, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
yeah,
That-
anyways,
That reminded me of something that I read the other day, where it's like, do the action first, and then the feelings will follow afterwards. So it's like, even though you know that, like, I don't want to read my Bible in the morning, but just do it, and then
Mm.
after you do it, you can be like, wow, I'm glad I did that.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
faith
Yeah,
over
but
feelings.
It's just adding on to your point there. But yeah,
Faith
Dinda,
over
you got
feelings
that,
right there.
What
That's
you whipping
good.
out just then?
Oh no, just the verse. I'm just gonna pull it up, and I think we can close after that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just wanted to get one more thing from you guys,
yeah.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the verse was from Romans 8, verse 39. No height, no depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. So
Mm.
every time we feel those doubts or those feelings, and we feel like, even sometimes these sort of like, oh, we're too far, might as well,
Yeah.
you know?
Right, yeah.
That is from the enemy.
Oh, 100%.
Because nothing, like none of those can actually separate us from God's love.
Amen.
And yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dinda. And the last thing I want from both of you and myself is what is one thing or advice or practice that you do that helps you in these moments that you feel vulnerable? That helps you, it could have been something that we mentioned before already, but it's just like, just make it clearer for the audience listening just like a summary of like one thing that you guys each practice that help you when battling these like negative thoughts and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Looks at me straight away.
No, because I'm like, Ethan kind of already mentioned that.
Yeah, he did. But
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
just to finish off and really like
I think. Oh, I need to word this very well.
I can go
'cause
first
I
if
think,
you need
oh
time.
yeah, go on then if you want to.
Did I steal?
No,
your-
go ahead.
Okay.
Do your thing.
For me, I think to be mindful of what you consume.
Yeah.
very good.
Because when
Yeah.
you're doubtful, it means like, you're not confident in whatever that the word has actually said, right? You have this unbelief for some reason. And listening to music or like being around people or anything actually, like whether it's friends, environment, music, TV, that just don't align with what God has said about you
Yeah.
doesn't help. It doesn't give us
Yeah,
any benefit.
Mhm.
So for me, I just have to be mindful about where I am. What am I allowing myself to see, to hear? Yeah, and I think to actually surround myself with friends and at least reach out to one or two people who I can debrief these thoughts with.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And usually those people, will remind me of who God is and who I am in God.
Yep.
It's good.
That's true. I think what to add on for you, like what you consume. A big thing with Instagram as well, because it's a really good avenue. I just TikTok in general. But someone said it, and I thought it was pretty fire. Someone said, it anyways. I'll try not to butcher it. Don't let the algorithm shape you. You should shape your algorithm.
Ooh.
So it was in a way where it was like, okay, you want to be more Christian, right? You want to like make your faith better. You want to build your faith better. But what's in your explore page?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
of that.
Like, so you should start looking for that content because Instagram is a privilege. If you want to make Instagram something that you want to use, like for your benefit, like don't let it be more harmful than it is good.
Yeah.
So I think after that, I'm not gonna lie, like I entered that Christian like social media community, and man, it's fire. Like
It is fire.
yeah.
Actually,
and
lately.
it's really a privilege that we can be a part of it. Just
Yeah.
to send you guys whatever we are learning to you guys, because we want you to have that kind of algorithm, because that should reflect your life.
Yeah.
And like whatever you see on Instagram shouldn't reflect.
That's good.
Like whatever like you're seeing on Instagram shouldn't be like coming into your life like that, because there are crazy things on there. You know what I mean? There are
Crazy.
different things happening there. But yeah, that's I guess what I wanted to add.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that,
How
I
about you,
think,
Jara?
yeah.
Wait, he wasn't finished yet.
Oh no.
I thought it was segueing. Sorry.
I think lastly, it's like quite similar to what I said about the algorithm, but it's like know yourself in a way where it's good. It's really good, the culture now of like self-care or understanding who you are, your habits and everything. So in the same way, I think understand your personal flesh habits. So for me, right, for example, that how I did devotions very late at night, it would be my mission to do it earlier, to choose God, to prioritize Him before I do anything for me, because it reflects what He wants, which is prioritizing Him.
Yeah.
And also understanding myself and knowing when I'm vulnerable. So instead of making myself vulnerable to the devil's whispers and me not even having to make the decision of overthinking and whatnot, I cut it off completely, and I start to change my life based on how like God wants me to change, if that makes sense. So
Makes
yeah,
sense.
understand yourself so you can avoid those problems.
Yeah, right.
That's really
Not
good.
to say it won't completely stop doubts or thoughts or anything. It helps just to know like where the devil's really getting you, and it is usually for the guys, you know what I mean, like late at night. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me personally.
No, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
For me, oldie but a goldie.
Yeah.
Prayer,
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
like for real. Like it's like you were saying before. It's like this is a flesh walk. You know what I mean? It's not a flesh walk. It's a spirit walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like obviously when these things happen, then I go straight to the spiritual. You know, I pray for God to allow me to deny my thoughts. I know like it's something that we've been saying since we met Johnny, but it's the truth, and that's helped me so much in like with my thoughts and stuff. And like I'm a bit of an overthinker myself, you know, but this does help. You know, it makes me like realign myself and focus in, and like it doesn't have to be some long spiel to God, like a big ass essay. or you don't have to like speak in tongues. You know, you don't have to do that. Just be real
Yeah.
with how you're feeling at the moment, and just surrender to God rather than surrender to the enemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In those vulnerable moments, because it's very easy to like be be in a panic and then like just try to be physical with everything. You know what I mean? Like try to be like, oh, what can I do now to solve this issue? Whereas like you can go to God because our confidence should be in Him and not ourselves. You know.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty much for me. Oldie but a Goldie. It's a staple. It's a staple. It's like Air
Always.
Force Ones. You know, you gotta have a pair, right? And that's prayer for everyone,
true.
for every Christian out there. So, guys, that's the episode on the devil's scare tactics. And like I said before earlier in this podcast, there are many ways the devil can attack us, and this is just one of those avenues. And we'll probably have more to share later on. But yeah, stay tuned for that. And stay safe out there, guys. And
Be aware.
God bless. God bless. And
See ya.
See ya.
of course, stay fresh.
Stay fresh.
Stay fresh.